All right, welcome back. Time now for the Inside Track. And here's what we've got is Elon Musk and President Trump. Bromance appears to be over now. The two of them are in a war of words on social media. So Musk now says that President Trump says that Musk could face some serious consequences if he funds Democratic candidates. Meantime, President Trump is trying to get rid of that Tesla that he got him at the White House. So let's bring into the Inside Track Republican political consultant Matt Klink, as well as Republican strategist and fellow with the Independent Women's Forum, Nicole Kipralov, as well as Dr. Steve Turley, author of Fight, How Trump and the MAGA Movement Are Changing the World. So great panel here. Matt, let's start it off here. Where do you see this going between Musk and Trump?
It looks like the drama from the Trump-Musk soap opera has died down. I think that they both realize that a public spat between the owner of Twitter and the owner of Truth Social inures to no one's benefit other than make for good headlines. And the irony is that, you know, Democrats want this because the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Mm-hmm. But what Elon Musk wants, more spending cuts, is antithetical to the Democratic agenda. So I don't think that analogy, the enemy of my enemy, holds for Democrats. But it is ugly. And as Trump said, I think yesterday, he just wants to move on. He's got more important things on his plate right now than a squabble with Elon Musk.
Nicole, where do you think this is going to go?
I think they're ultimately going to make amends, but I do want to bring up this point of this third party. There's been a lot of talk of Elon Musk starting a third party. I think that's just something he's saying in his anger. The reality is that this expanded MAGA coalition that President Trump created, that's essentially a third party. It's part of the Republican Party. And the beauty of this expanded MAGA coalition is that it drew in Democrats. It drew in independents. It drew in moderates on both sides of the aisle because this transcends political boundaries. Yeah. It's about common sense reform, and it's about the core values of the United States of America. And I think that resonates with Elon Musk. Even if there are disagreements on certain policies, ultimately, there's absolutely no reason for a third party, given that there is this expanded MAGA coalition. So I don't actually think there's any credibility or weight to that.
Dr. Turley.
100%. It's been said Donald Trump is a third party candidate who won a major party nomination, and he has radically transformed the Republican Party away from the George W. Bush neocon paradigm to a much more working class, both white and non-white working class, blue collar paradigm, which means he wins Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin every election as long as the Republican Party sticks with that. I got to be honest, from a calculus perspective, this is a no-win for Elon. I mean, we already saw the YouGov poll that came out, I think it was Thursday night after everything blew up. And they found 71% of Republicans sided with Trump, 6 sided with Elon. I mean, you know, not to be a jerk, but that's kind of like the libertarian numbers, you know, like Rand Paul runs for the nomination and he gets 1%, 2% to Trump's 40 or 50, that kind of. So he can't win with Trump. And he can't win with the Democrats for exactly the reasons we just said. His whole argument is they're spending too much. Democrats spend on steroids. He hates woke. Democrats have doubled down on woke. So it's a no-win. So the sooner this quells down for Musk, the better.
Yeah, man, I felt like you were going to jump in there.
No, I mean, look, you have two men who are at the peak of their game in terms of dominating the media narrative. So, I mean, I've heard it described as Godzilla versus King Kong in a battle. But Trump did the right thing yesterday by just moving on. I mean, he's got China, he's got Iran, he's got now this mess in Los Angeles that he's got to clean up. So Elon Musk is going to become background noise very quickly.
Go ahead.
Well, I also wanted to point out that Republicans are a lot more open-minded because of what I explained before with this expanded MAGA coalition. But the Democrats, there's no way the Democrats are actually going to support Elon Musk or welcome him back into the party. They're happy now because they're filled with this anti-Trump hatred, this Trump derangement syndrome. So anything that, you know, they think isn't going well for Trump, they're incredibly happy about. But it's not what they're going to stop torching Teslas and now they're going to start buying Teslas. They're never going to forgive Elon Musk for helping President Trump and for being a part of this expanded MAGA coalition. So I think a great, stark contrast there between the mentality of the Democrats versus the Republicans.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about what's going on also in California. I mean, Trump has put forward that he doesn't want men playing in women's sports, but yet we continue to see this happen. We saw this in California. Hernandez, which is one about track and field. This is it right here. Events. But I mean, why is it that the California continues to resist against this? Go ahead, Matt.
Again, California is at the forefront of the woke agenda. And Gavin Newsom's comments aside that he has concerns about men playing in women's sports, he has led California down this path.
Right.
And the left can never go back. It used to be that with Title IX, they demanded women equality, and now they're pushing for equality for guys that were mediocre male athletes to dominate women's sports.
Right.
But if you're a progressive, this is the great thing to do. I mean, and I use that air quotes. It is horrible for women athletes to have to compete against men. It's an unfair biological advantage. But Gavin Newsom, he knows if he wants the Democratic nomination, the progressive left controls that in the Democratic Party, so he has to kiss the ring.
Right. Do you want to jump in, Dr. Kerr?
Yeah, I mean, bottom line, this is a clash between fairness and inclusion.
Right.
Fairness and inclusion. And unfortunately for trans activists, sports is predicated on fairness. And fairness, by definition, excludes. We all remember the Seinfeld episode when Kramer signed up for the karate classes with kids, and we laughed at it. And he justified by saying, we're all the same belt rank. What's the problem? No, I'm sorry. Fairness, a level playing field, excludes. Adults don't get to compete against kids.
Right.
Pros don't get to compete against amateurs. Heavyweights don't get to compete against lightweights. And so what the trans agenda is doing here is it's completely destroying that fairness paradigm. But what's so interesting is exclusivity doesn't disappear. It just gets translated to women and solely women. So now they're excluded from sports competition. They're excluded from scholarships. They're excluded from rankings like Riley Gaines. And so this is why the Justice Department, I think, is rightly saying that this is a violation of their equal protection of the 14th Amendment.
Right.
And it's that, and if trans have their way, female sports will, by definition, disappear because fairness disappears. And without fairness, it's not competition, it's cheating.
Right. Nicole?
Well, this is not an 80-20 issue. This is a 97-3 issue.
Yeah.
We know, because it's based on biology, it's based on facts, it's based on science. We know that men are bigger, they are stronger, they have more muscle mass, they have more endurance, and no amount of hormone therapy will ever change that. Now, the left loves to say, well, this really doesn't happen a lot. We don't have a lot of biological males in women's sports. First of all, that's not true. And second of all, even if we did concede that, it only takes one John. It takes one biological male to strip away the accomplishments and the opportunities that women have been fighting for decades to get. It takes one biological male to irreversibly scar in a physical and mental way a young girl. So I absolutely agree with the Trump administration. Pull federal funding from any state that doesn't comply with his executive
That's a
order.
good point. And Matt, do you think that that's going to be the solution? If you just pull the federal funding, is it going to be enough to move the needle?
No, I think that it's a start, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you look what happened with Maine and the governor. The governor quickly backtracked. I think that Trump threatening it and then actually doing it, these states, the federal money is the heroin for these left states. They rely on it for their very being so they can fund their big government agenda. So if Trump follows through, he can force these states to make changes. They may hate it, but they need the money more than they like the policy.
Right. We got to play the soundbite here. Michael Cohen, he's defending President Trump over all of the allegations here from Elon Musk. I'm going to go back to that real quickly here. Let's watch.
I have extensive knowledge of Trump, being by his side for almost a decade and a half.
Right.
Let me dispel all of that notion. While he knew Jeffrey Epstein, and while, yes, he may be in the files in the form of Trump being in the black book, so were hundreds and hundreds of very name-worthy, influential individuals. I have zero knowledge of any relationship between Trump and and Jeffrey Epstein.
All right, so Matt, your takeaway there. Michael Cohen coming to the defense of President Trump. I mean, these two, I don't know.
Pigs really do fly. don't they?
Yeah, right, exactly. It's like, let me take the third side of this issue
Right.
for Michael Cohen. Talk about a guy that is desperately seeking credibility. Now I think he wants a pardon from Trump now.
Probably, yeah.
So, of course, he's now Trump's buddy. But when Biden was in power, Trump was the evildoer. So, I mean, I can't believe this guy still gets press coverage and that people still give him his 15 seconds. But
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, okay, go, Michael. You do you.
Nicole.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think he's absolutely irrelevant at this point. But, I mean, what he is saying, I don't even think we should be talking about it, considering, there's only one argument to really absolutely destroy the left's argument that there's any association between President Trump and Epstein in a wrongful manner. And that argument is that the Democrats would never have sat on it for so long, right? So that should completely dispel any sort of suspicion, any sort of notion that there was, some sort of viable connection there.
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Turley?
One of the recurring themes I'm hearing from commentary is that this was a battle between wealth and power. I actually think the better movie is The War of the Gargantuas. That's the richest man in the world versus the most powerful man in the world. And I love that movie as a kid. I don't know why I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
But it's power versus wealth. And if wealth could always buy power, Kamala Harris would be president.
Right.
Power always trumps wealth in the end. And what you just saw there was a confirmation that Trump won.
Yeah.
Trump won that battle. Cohen recognizes he's got the power. When he went to the Middle East, I think it was Mohammed bin Salman in Saudi Arabia who said, this man is the president, not just of the United States, he's the president of the world. No one commands the power, the global power that Trump commands right now. That was proof.
Absolutely. Matt, your take.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that Donald Trump is obviously president. However, he is so much more than that at this particular juncture. And even, again, two people, Elon Musk and Donald Trump, they are fantastic at dominating the media narrative. Trump just put the wood to Elon Musk, and it just shows that Elon is an amateur compared to Donald Trump.
Absolutely. Nicole, your last takeaway here.
Well, look, I think we can actually get what President Trump wants in this big, beautiful bill so incredibly critical. And we can also get the DOJ cuts, right? We just can't get it all in the same time. But I think, the bringing in the big, beautiful bill into this discussion, I think the left's opposition to it is everything you need to know in order to get this piece of legislation passed. The Democrats, they want the biggest tax hike in American history. They want a weak military, a weak national defense. They want to lower the quality of life of our service members. That's another very important provision to increase the quality of life of our service members in the big, beautiful bill. And they want to continue to churn out victims of our illegal immigration crisis. So for all of these reasons, we have to absolutely unite and ensure that this big, beautiful bill gets through Congress, and we can still get those very critical spending cuts as well. We just can't get it all at the same time. There needs to be that understanding of the way government works here.
Absolutely. All right, that's the Inside Track. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Until next time.
Thank
Thank you.